Good morning, children. Children, in the class today, we'll study a device called moving coil galvanometer (MCG). Well, last time we studied torque acting over current carrying coil in magnetic field, and based on that principle is this device called moving coil galvanometer. Therefore, working principle of the device is a current carrying coil in magnetic field experiences torque, and the expression of torque is what? NIAB sin theta. We have already deduced this expression in the last class. Well, how is the device? What is its look? What is its construction? How does it look? This is the diagram of moving coil galvanometer. What is there in the diagram? See, in the diagram we have a coil. This is a coil. This is a coil. One end of the coil is connected with spring and forms one terminal of the galvanometer, which is ultimately connected across source. The other end is connected with a wire which is phosphor bronze wire. Which wire it is? Phosphor bronze wire. Phosphor bronze wire. This is a wire. Phosphor bronze is an alloy. It has very high conductivity and it is very strong wire. Its resistance is very less. This passes through a screw and forms the other terminal of the galvanometer. This coil is placed in between the poles of cylindrical magnets. This is north pole, this is south pole. The poles of the cylindrical magnets are concave in shape like this. They are concave in shape, and in between these two poles, which are concave in shape, the coil is dipped. Rectangular coil is dipped. Well, so as to measure the deflection of the coil as the current passes through the coil, the torque is produced in the coil deflects, and how do we measure that deflection? That deflection is measured with the help of this source. This is a source and mirror arrangement. This is source of light. This is a plane mirror. This is a plane mirror. This is a plane mirror which is attached right above this coil along with this wire. So as the current passes through the coil rotates, and as the coil rotates, the mirror deflects. So this is the source of light. The light from the source falls over the plane mirror, and from plane mirror it is reflected. It is reflected where? It is reflected and it is operated over a scale. This is a scale which is mounted over a stand. This is scale which is mounted over stand. Say this is the meter scale. As the coil rotates, the mirror also rotates, and as the mirror rotates, the image of the source over the scale deflects. For one position of the mirror, the image is here, and for the other deflected position, the mirror image is formed here. So this is what is angle of deflection phi of the coil. So what do we have? We have coil, we have cylindrical magnets, we have phosphor bronze wire, we have source, we have plane mirror. So plane mirror and stand, they are meant to measure the deflection of the coil. We have one more type of moving coil galvanometer, which is called pivoted type, where the measurement is not done by mirror and scale, it is done by a needle. It is needle which moves over the scale. Well, what is the significance of cylindrical magnets? That is very important. Why do we use cylindrical magnets here? Well, the significance of cylindrical magnet is that because of this magnet, the net magnetic field always becomes parallel to the plane of coil. Cylindrical magnets create what? Radial field. Radial magnetic field. And because of radial magnetic field, net magnetic field is always parallel to the plane of coil. Due to which what happens? Angle theta is 90 degree. For every orientation of coil, angle theta becomes 90 degree. Therefore, the value of torque is what? Which is NIAB sin theta. Since theta is 90, it becomes NIAB. Torque becomes independent of angle theta. So how is that? The magnetic field is parallel to the plane of coil for all its orientations. Let us understand that. See, this is radial magnetic field. This is north pole, right from here to here. Right from here to here, it is north pole of the cylindrical magnet. This is south pole of the cylindrical magnet. This is top view. This is top view. These are two poles of cylindrical magnets, and the coil is placed in between these two concave poles of the cylindrical magnets. The coil is dipped, and this is top view which we have made here. The top view, the cross section of the space where magnetic field exists is circular in shape. So in this cross section, circular cross section, the magnetic line of forces are arranged along the radius of this circular cross section. This is center of the circle, and magnetic line of forces are arranged along the radius. This is north pole. The magnetic line of forces start from north pole and they merge into south pole. So right from here to here it is north pole, and right from here to here it is what? South pole. So the field is what? Radial, because material forces arranged along the radius of the circular cross section. Now, if we place a coil here in this space, this is the top edge of the coil. Well, for every orientation, theta is 90 degree. Why? This is an arbitrary position of coil in this space from the top. Well, if material force enter from here, it will leave the coil like this from the other side. Well, this magnetic field which enters here, this material force which enters here, will have two components, one along, another what? One along the plane, other perpendicular to the plane. This will also have two components, one along the plane, another perpendicular to the plane. And you can see these components cancel out. If we resolve this, we'll have a component in the along magnetic field, along the plane of the coil. Other component will be what? Perpendicular to the plane of coil. And these components will cancel each other. So what are we left with? We are left with only components parallel to the plane of the coil. This is for all orientation. For simplicity, I have taken just one MLF from this side, one MLF from this side, and they come out like this. Otherwise, there are large number of material forces which enter in one half and they come out of the other half. But the reactant is what? The net magnetic field is always parallel to the plane of the coil. Therefore, tau becomes independent of angle theta. We don't want tau to depend upon any other factor other than current, because we want to measure current. Anyway, as the torque is produced in the coil deflects. But how much coil is going to deflect? It depends upon torsional rigidity of the wire attached with it, or the hardness or the softness of the spring the coil is connected with. So, whatever is that is a constant for a given coil. So, tau is directly proportional to angle phi, that is the deflection of the coil. Greater is the torque, greater is going to be deflection. If we remove sign of proportionality, we get a constant C, and this C is called as torsional constant of the wire. This is also called as torsional rigidity. So, this wire, which is phosphor wound wire, has very small torsional rigidity. So, torsional rigidity is C. Well, this is torque, and torque produces deflection in the coil, that is C phi. If we equate 1 and 2, what do we get? NIAB is equal to C phi. That means I is going to be what? C phi upon NAB. This is the value of current measured by galvanometer. And if we write I as V upon R, where R is what? The resistance of the coil. Therefore, V upon R is C upon NAB times phi. So, what is V? V is CR upon NAB times phi. This is the value of voltage measured by galvanometer. Galvanometer is a device which measures both current as well as voltage. So, this is the expression of current which depends upon angle of deflection, and this is the voltage which also again depends upon angular deflection only. These quantities in the bracket are constant for a given moving coil galvanometer. So, greater is deflection, greater is current, greater is deflection, greater is going to be the potential difference measured by galvanometer. Now, let us talk about sensitivity. What is sensitivity of moving coil galvanometer? sensitivity of any device in general is its ability to measure a smaller value of physical quantity. Well, since it is galvanometer, it has two sensitivities. It can measure both current as well as voltage. So the very first is current sensitivity, the second one is voltage sensitivity. Smaller is the current measured by a galvanometer, greater is its current sensitivity. Smaller is the voltage measured by a galvanometer, smaller is its voltage sensitivity. And these voltage and current sensitivities are defined as deflection per unit current. Current sensitivity is deflection per unit current. Smaller is, greater is the value of deflection per unit current, greater is sensitivity. Likewise, voltage sensitivity is deflection per unit voltage. Greater is deflection per unit voltage, greater is voltage sensitivity. And we can find out the expression for these. See, this is phi upon I. If you bring I here, what do we get? NAB upon C. So phi upon I. This is phi, this is I. It just change its side to this side. And NAB moves this side, C comes down. So what do we get? NAB upon C. This is the formula for current sensitivity. And from here, if we shift V to this side and NAB to this side and CR to this side, what do we get? VS as NAB upon CR. This is the formula for voltage sensitivity. This is the formula for voltage sensitivity. And you can see that NAB upon C. What is that? IS. That means VS is IS upon. This is the relationship between voltage sensitivity and current sensitivity. Current sensitivity does not depend upon the resistance of the coil, whereas voltage sensitivity depends upon the resistance of the coil. Voltage sensitivity is current sensitivity upon the resistance of the coil. So the diagram, the moving coil galvanometer, which you have studied, has highest sensitivity because we are measuring deflection not by needle, which has inertia and the sensitivity becomes lesser there. But here the sensitivity is very, very high. So with this we come to the end of today's topic. Thank you very much. We'll meet again very shortly. Till then, goodbye.